Hey everyone, welcome back again. I have a really dear friend with me, Suzy. Suzy, welcome to the conversation.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, Suzy and I are going to dive into a really beautiful conversation. Again, this series of interviews is all about November and why heart centered entrepreneurs approach November differently and maybe this season differently. And Suzy has a lot to share on the subject. So before we get into it, let's introduce ourselves. First of all, hi, I'm Kelly Geisler. I am known as the Butterfly Guide. I am not your average business coach for heart centered entrepreneurs who are looking and for a business coach, but don't resonate with traditional business coaches. Suzy, please go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know all your multifaceted beauty.
Yeah, so introducing myself is always difficult for me. So, as Kelly knows, I'm a multi passionate person. And so, what it kind of looks like from the outside is there's a lot of moving parts and I'm kind of all over the place. But what I've come to embrace is that I just have a lot of different interests and I can combine them all together. So, professionally, ultimately, I'm a licensed therapist, specializing in trauma. So I do some somatic work. I incorporate yoga. I do some advanced energy work. And I'm also starting to get more into the coaching field, which is obviously a little different than therapy. And so that's me.
Yes. So you are watching a video of two manifesting generators in the house together, and the definition of manifesting generator is multi-passionate and multi-focused. And all of those moving pieces make sense to us, but it often doesn't make sense to other people.
Mhm.
And it really isn't about embracing our beauty, our uniqueness, and bringing our kind of zone of genius, gifts, and talents to you and to serve you.
And can
So
I
let's
say,
go ahead.
Kelly, sorry, can I say that I'm also, for those of you who know human design, I'm also a 3-5, which
Yep.
means that I'm an experimenter. I'm trial and error. And part of my purpose for being on this earth is to do things, fail at them, and find a better way. But then ultimately to pass those ways on to other people,
Yes.
which can be wonderful. So taking something big and broad and making it and skipping steps and then getting people to the end quicker, which is can be very helpful.
So the information I'm getting right now is we could geek out about that. I'm a 352. Did you know that? I think
I
we
did.
probably said that.
I
Yeah.
thought you were. Yeah, I thought you were.
But I'm an emotional manifesting generator. Are you?
I'm sacral.
Okay. It's just a slight difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna create a different video on this. This will be a good video for us to chat
Yes.
about. So, what I love about November is for me the opportunity to really give back my community. Now, I'm going to just be transparent here and say November and even December has traditionally, for many years, have not been an amazing season for me. There's a
Mhm.
lot of emotions, there's a lot of heartbreak, there's a lot of things going on, and I don't love going into the season. So for me, one of the most important things, especially this year, is being intentional and sharing oodles and oodles and oodles of gratitude. And the reason why I share that is because Susie's approach to this season is something I would really invite you to sit back, lean into, and be open to. So, Susie, my first question is, what does this holiday season mean for you, and how do you like to approach it?
So, you know, I think it's interesting because when I talk to people, everybody has this macro view of Christmas, right? And the holidays and people sitting around and having the food and the presents and all the beautiful lights, which I totally appreciate. But then what happens, and this is comes from my years in practice, generally what happens is the days start to get closer where we're actually going to start seeing family, where we have to figure out menus or we whatever it is that we're doing, whether we're seeing family or not, we have a whole bunch of baggage that's coming into with us, right? Because yeah, there's just no way. There's a lot of excuse me. Um, especially in grief work and things like that. I mean, how anniversaries are sometimes the hardest days, and what bigger anniversaries, right, than the
Yeah,
holidays, right?
yeah.
And how they used to be, how they weren't. So, anyways, um, yeah. So when I ask people, I actually asked people recently on my Facebook, what do you think of when you think of the upcoming season? And there are people who were like, hot cocoa and fire. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. But that's not really what I was looking for, because I know there's an underneath. And the thing is that, it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to say, like, the holidays are coming and this is really hard. And that's kind of where I recognized that there was a piece that was missing for people. A lot of times we fall into expectations of other people. We're made to feel guilty or bad if we're not, running around like we're crazy. And that's
Mm,
not what the holiday season is supposed to be. And
mhm.
also, how can you be in gratitude when you're that way? And I remember when my kids were little, we would literally um, get them up Christmas morning, open presents super fast, and then end up going to like 3 different houses during the
Yeah.
day. And then we were stressed because we knew our kids were going to be crabby. And they wanted to play with their new toys so it was many years ago where I started to kind of unplug that for us.
Yep.
And it took a long time because you have to get other people on board as well. But the bottom line though is that I got okay with knowing that, okay, this is what is in alignment with me.
Yep.
I can maybe visit those people next week, even if they're upset right now. This is what I need. This is what my family needs. And so for me, going into this month, that's really what it's about. And in my private practice, it has been about giving people permission. Not that they need my permission, but sometimes they feel like they do, and it's never occurred to them before that they can give themselves permission, um, to just really take some time and reflect, and recognize where the difficult times are, what they can handle, what they can't handle, or I should say, what everybody can handle everything for the most part, at least for a couple minutes. But I don't want someone to go handle their emotions for an hour and then leave somewhere and then just be down for 2 days, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you want to manage? What's important to you? How do you want to go into this?
Yes.
And it's interesting though, because and can I go a little into what I've been working on?
Can I just respond to that first? So what you are saying is definitely what I've learned to embrace as well. And I just want to share and respond to that because it is a hard time for me. I go into it with intentionality of how can I really support myself? What do I really want to focus on? So what's my self-love, self-care, and what do I want to focus on? I want to focus on those deep, authentic connections, and I want to show gratitude and being grateful for my deep connections, and because that's really meaningful for me, and just supporting myself, supporting myself, supporting myself. And for me, sharing gratitude is one of those things of just like, thank you for being you. Thank you for being part of my life. I appreciate you. And I do that all the time, but why not do it again in this time of the year?
Right, right.
And I just want to say one more thing. A couple of years ago, because of COVID, did Thanksgiving differently, but even starting then, started doing Christmas differently. I now even celebrate Christmas with my boys a couple days before. So we do nothing on Christmas except just enjoy family time on Christmas. We see no one on Christmas anymore. And I agree with you. So it's what do I need? How can I support myself? What will be the most meaningful experience for me the next 6 weeks or 7 weeks? Where do I want to set my intention? Where do I want to set my focus? And what tools can I leverage in my toolbox?
Love
So I'm with you, and my heart is super connected with you. Now, Suzy has been working on something, and I love this aha that she had and what she was the impulse she wanted to bring forward. So let's go into that.
Okay. And one thing I want to get back to as well, Kelly, is that you're doing some really great modeling for your kids.
Thank
They're
you. Yep.
seeing that there is a way to do things differently, and they
Yep.
don't have to just buy into all the hubbub. And
Yep.
okay, so that's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah. So yeah, so with this, with coming into this time of the year, kind of assessing where my clients are, and actually this kind of came out of a specific talk with one client. And I think it's hard when we do a lot of our self work, and we get to a point where we're good with things and we realize that we can set boundaries. And I think sometimes it's hard to realize that there are people that are just really starting out on a journey of self discovery and being able to
Mhm.
set boundaries. And so I thought, oh my gosh, what would be helpful? I wonder what would be helpful to this woman. And we had this conversation, and so I came up with an idea. And I have a program that I'm starting, and it's called Authentically You, as you see in the in my space bar. And what I'm going to be doing is it's going to start the of uh, 20th of November, which is the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And so what it's going to entail, I am going to have a 10, I'm just going to jump right into this. I'm going to have a
Okay.
10-day free trial
Yep.
from the 20th up until the end, what is it, the 30th
30th.
of
Yep.
November. And then I'm going to be going into more of a membership type thing, which will be optional. There's no expectation if you do the free trial, which I'm really hoping people will, because you will get a lot out of these 10 days. So what I'm doing in these 10 days is I am going to be sending a daily text message.
Mm.
So you'll get a text message that comes to you that will just remind you to be you, and that you're perfect you. And um, I haven't written these yet, so I don't know exactly what they're going to say, but I'm hoping to inspire people and help them, just stand in alignment with themselves and remember who they are and remember that they're important and that they can make these decisions.
Yep.
There's also going to be a private Facebook group. So I'm going to be hopping on, I'm going to make some videos. I'm going to share some, fun information, helpful information. And then there's also going to be a live Zoom call. Sorry, my calendar's over here. Can you tell? A live Zoom call on Sunday the 27th. I'm picturing just a nice
Oh,
jammies coffee chat to kind of answer any questions. And as you said, I'm a responder. So what I'm really looking for in this whole process is for people to say, hey, you know what? This is what happens to me when I'm with family.
yep.
What can I do about that? And for me to respond. And I know, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I could, tell you all the things about boundaries, but if that's not what you need right now,
Yep.
so I'm hoping to have a real interactive relationship with people who are participating, so that I can kind of put specifics in and really just get people through the holidays and this time.
Can
So, yes,
can I interrupt and connect a dot? I just had a big light bulb moment.
love it. Yeah.
So when Suzy just said, right, in human design, we're both designed to respond to people. So she's really hoping to have an active community to communicate. This is what's going on for me. Remember when Suzy about, 10 minutes ago said she's multi-passionate and she's multifaceted? What that means is she's going to pull from her plethora of tools in her toolbox, and she names some at the beginning to really show up and to support you. And she has a wealth of experience in several different areas. So she really can pull together that wealth of experience from multiple sources and to serve you at the greatest capacity. So that was just like, I wanted it to come a full circle moment. But also what I heard and what I was feeling into, and I also had another personal aha moment, was community. So some of us don't feel so connected in community or supported by our family that we are likely going to see in this time.
Yep.
So a community of like-minded individuals that are really dedicated and setting their focus to be supported, to have permission to be authentically them, that self-love, radical self-love, radical self-care. So I heard community, support, and focus. And just feeling into that, doesn't it feel so different? Like, can't you imagine your next 6, 7 weeks in that container? I can, and it feels amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
I'm excited.
yeah,
It's going to force me to stay on track.
yes,
And to what you were saying, yes. So when we go into December is, I've kind of have these working titles for things to help me, focus on them. And December is going to be doing December differently.
yes.
So doing it differently, being intentional. And I wrote a note when you were talking, so I didn't forget. But one of my other working titles had been Connection Over Chaos.
Oh,
And
yeah,
when I think about
yeah,
December and when I think about those things, because we all want to connect. That's what our intention is around the holidays. But let's take the chaos out of it.
right.
Let's take the stress out of it.
Can I just want to add to it because I'm signing up, everyone, totally signing up for that. If you are not signing up for this, like just sit back for a second and say, why am I not signing up for this?
Yeah.
I had the aha moment of why it's emotional for me, because every Thanksgiving for the past 10 years, I have not seen my kids for 10, 12 days. they go with their dad and have a beautiful family experience, a family that I used to be a part of and I'm no longer part of. And then I never have them on Christmas Eve. Never have them on Christmas Eve. So even though I suck it up, I'm hiding those emotions. And so again, those are coming alive for me, going, I can really deepen, like just when you said November 27th and the community and the support, I'm like, oh, I'm melting into Suzy's offering right now. So I just like, I hope as you're listening to this, I hope everyone is doing the same thing, like putting yourself in the shoes. What does it feel like to have community? What does it feel like to have support, to not be alone, right? To be connected and to do business. Sorry, that's me. To do this holiday season, December, differently in an intentional, high vibrational, conscious, and authentic way. That's I'm signing up.
Yeah. And you know, your story of, you know, not having your kids on Thanksgiving and not having, you know, we create all these stories.
Yeah.
You know, we create stories of what things should be like. And, you know, it's interesting because we can have different, you know, we have different perspectives of things. Of someone who, you know, always had my kids on Christmas Eve and it was busy and bustling, I probably would have said, "Oh, man, I wish that, you know, I could just stay home and take a bubble bath tonight," or whatever it is,
Right.
right? But we have these stories in our heads about what we should be, how
I'm
we should
missing.
be,
Yeah.
you know, and we can
Yep.
pick those apart. And
Right.
then when you add them to the stories of who you are within your family group too, right? That it can really just mess with your head. So just
Love it.
pulling it back, calming it down. I'm not
Yep.
saying, you know, smile, and that's another thing. This is not toxic positivity.
Right.
This is not like, oh, just smile and everything will be perfect,
Mm-mm.
because that's not reality.
Right.
But you know, you need to balance out your thinking.
Yep.
And I know for me, when I'm, you know, when I'm in a place where, especially if I'm feeling super emotional, I'm not making great decisions. You know, I'm not making great connections. I'm like, oh, this is horrible, and everybody hates me, and everybody. And then so seeing someone from the outside saying, "Hey, just remember how great you are, even if you're having a cruddy day,"
Yep.
and also permission to feel not okay. You
Yeah.
know, so yeah, so I'm super excited, and like I said, I'm just kind of waiting to see where this goes, and that's the exciting part for me too, because as I was trying to like plan stuff, I was like, well, I don't know what people want, and so please join, please shoot me lots of ideas. I will. I love answering questions, and I love just using the experience I have
Yeah.
of all the years of talking to people about their deep stuff. So
I love it. I'm gonna add to it with you just reflecting back to me. Like this is a really good role modeling of likely the support you're gonna feel inside Suzy's container. But what I heard, and this was a great awareness, again, like we know these things all the time, and it's like, oh, you just got caught in something. Like, okay, refocus. I was focusing on lack instead of focusing on abundance. I was feeling the lack emotion instead of all the beautiful abundance. So now it's like, okay, I can really focus on the abundance that is available because I have amazing connections and I have amazing people and love and connection to support myself and to really share with the gratitude and so
yeah.
forth. So,
And it's all
so
about balance.
yep,
It's all about balance. You can't
yep.
just have all the negative, and you can't have all the positive. It has to be
Right.
this realistic balance. And so we want to get people there.
So I loved how you ended it that you're so excited to go into the unknown and respond and show up for this community exactly how they need to be responded. This is a different way of approaching business. And this is where I'm going to ask the question because Suzy's one of my clients. She is receiving business coaching from me, and we are doing business differently, and we're leading with the feminine instead of the masculine. And I'm not going to go on, but that is kind of stepping into the unknown a little bit more with and leveraging her human design. So I'm just curious, Suzy, if you can just share with us one thing that you've either appreciated, gained, or had through our coaching relationship, like you receiving support, you receiving that business coaching.
So the answer is no. I cannot think of one thing, because if you asked me, could I think of like one thing a day, I would say, yeah, I probably could. So that's the reality there. So I mean, one thing for me, I'm not a businesswoman. I'm a therapist, and that was always the part I hated, right? I hated having to do billing. I hated having to do these things. Like, no, I want to be with people. So I was really way over in the feminine. And And so Kelly helped me to, and I don't know how well you remember Kelly, but I was literally like, okay, maybe I'll dip a toe, right? Like maybe I'll start talking about accounting stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe and it was like, it was really hard for me, but you're very patient. And again, it was a lot of, there was that balance of education, and helping me feel more comfortable with things, but then
Yeah.
also compassion for where I was. And I think about where I was and where I am now, and I kind of laugh. But really, the biggest thing that you helped me with was to pull in all these pieces. Again, I feel like, okay, I'm all over the place. And for months, I was like, okay, it's all swirling around and I'm not sure what's happening, but I'm just going to trust the process. And I had the space to trust the process. And that was the other thing is I had reminders between you and the my fellow academy folk.
Yep.
Um, had the reminders that, trust the universe and that things will come in time and unfold and to not try and push it.
Yep.
And then literally one day, it was like boom, and this thing was just born. And it felt so good. So just, her helping and reflecting back to me, because there's so many times where she would say, well, what I heard you say was, and she'd say it and I'd be like, really? Is that what I just said? Because my head was like, but she was able to bring it back and reflect back to me like, oh, this is what I
Yeah.
hear you saying,
Yeah.
so that's just been super helpful. So really, I mean, just all of it, between the
Love that.
support in and outside of the academy and all of the just all the knowledge, and not just the knowledge, when we're in class and things like that, but then also the resources that I can
Yeah.
go to um, on
Yeah.
the site. And also Kelly's super generous. I was all of a sudden I found myself like, oh, I have this great idea, and now I have to like try and do all this stuff really super fast. And I there was a form. I was like, oh, I have to create this form, I think, and whatever. And Kelly's like, hey, I got a form. I'll send it over to you. Just tweak it to be your stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, thank you. So just so generous. And that's the other thing too, is that what I found is that this community that we have
Yep.
is just super supportive
Yeah.
and collaborative. And you know none of us are taking away from each other in any way, and we're all giving to each other. And that's not very usual, right? I mean, in business, people are usually thinking about, well, if they do a program similar to mine, then how's that going to affect me, not
Mm-hmm.
realizing that like there's abundance in this world,
Yes.
right? And there's people looking for things. And so I'm doing this. Maybe after the 10 days, everyone's like, hey, this was awesome, but I'm out. And that's fine.
Yep.
But what I'm hoping is that I find people that say, wow, this was really helpful to me. And I'm going to tell other people as well. But I'm also, oh, you had
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
you had quite the reaction. Oh no, that threw me off a little. So yeah, no, I'm hoping to fill a void. And if there's not a void, then I will move on and you know figure
Yeah.
out where I'm needed,
The,
basically.
the the next passion. My aha was, and I love that Susie said this. It is the investment into her membership is less than one session of therapy, and just feel the support available. Like she's making it very available for everyone. And that was something that just was like that aha moment, making it very valuable. And just the support. Like, thank you for those kind words of you've been in a community of collaboration over competition, and just the same thing that you're going to be offering in your community. I do want to just highlight one thing. This kind of goes back to what you said. This is the coach in me. You said trusting in the universe, trusting in your human design as well. Because really, starting your human design journey with me and going, oh, I'm multi passionate, I'm multi focused or faceted. This is all of this makes sense for me, but it doesn't make sense to other people or other coaches that tell you you got to do it this way, right? And just it's like let's leverage your beauty, your gifts, your natural talents, the way you're designed, and create a business that was leveraging that, not hiding the best parts of you. We
Yes.
could go on and on.
Oh, I know. I'm going to go back to human design a little bit, because I've actually had people who have reached out to me, other therapists, and they say, hey, this person called me and they're looking for a new therapist, and they mentioned human design, and I don't know anything about it, but I know you do. So can I have them call you? And so there is also that piece too. And I should say thank you. Like
Mhm.
you were the first one who introduced me to human design.
Yep.
And now I'm just like, can't get enough of it. But I
Yeah.
also, one of the first things I did is I started asking my clients if they were comfortable, for information
Mhm.
so that I could figure out their human design. And we look at things through that lens. And it's just been amazing.
Yeah, it's an individual support, individual focus. Like that's what I learned. Like you can't coach to the masses. It's really the individual. And I'm going to be helping someone soon that is like, she's a speaker coach. I was like, oh, would you like to talk and share and like about the throat? Because some of your clients have open throats, some of yours have defined, some have different gates. Like you can leverage each of these different gates and help support your clients in a different way. But again, Suzy and I can go
I
on and on, and we
know.
should go on and on
I
in a
know,
different
we could have
recording.
like an 8-hour podcast. Maybe we should do that. 8 hours a month, just one day. That'd be
Like we
wonderful.
could split it up into segments. So, Suzy, how can people follow you and just read more about what you're offering?
The easiest way to do it probably is to go to my website, which is suzyrs.com. So SUZYRS at gmail.com. And when you get there, actually, there's right on the front page, there's going to be a box you can click and you can find out more about Authentically You and sign up. And please do, even if you don't plan to stay. I really, really want people to be there because I want to also hear what are the things that people are looking for? What do they need? Um, and on my Facebook page, there's also the social media
Perfect.
buttons, so you can also find me there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my heart is open. Just thank you for this beautiful chat about talking about how you're giving back to the community. Like, think about it. If you know that Thanksgiving or you're curious how to do December differently, sign up for her free 10 days and really feel supported around the Thanksgiving time frame and possibly the chaos that you traditionally experience during the next 7 weeks. In case you don't know me or follow me, you can reach me at almost every social media handle at the Butterfly Guide. That is my website as well. So thank you, Suzy. This has been an incredible conversation. We're
Yeah,
definitely going to do more.
I know this was fun. Yeah, I was super nervous, not gonna lie,
Yeah.
but had fun. So I hope it was fun for everyone else there too. So
I love it. Stay tuned. Suzy and Kelly are going to do more.
yeah, yeah, you take over the world.
Yeah. All right. Much love, everyone.